Welcome to the Sustainable Ag and Environment How-To video. So this is basically to show you Brightspace and how the class will be run online. So of course from the MSU webpage, Brightspace, from the login tab, this is what mine looks like. Yours will look a little different. It'll have your own courses here, and I have a few more selections than you do because I'm teacher status. So I'm going to click on your course. You'll click on my course, switch to view as a learner. So this is what you should see. When you come in, there are 4 squares that'll only here typically when you first come in. You have some helpful library links you can click on, sustainability links if you at any time you ever become more interested in studying sustainability per se. As a minor, there are a couple links in there. Otherwise, these two have nothing too active to do with the class, but they're resources here for you. Today we'll go through the syllabus quickly, and I will go through the content, how it's laid out in each unit, and then quickly pack back. I expect this video should take about 20 minutes. So pull up a chair and grab a nice hot cup of something. Tea, coffee, cocoa. So you see right here when you come on, announcements will always be on the right hand side, and then the content is where everything related to the course and the exams are going to be located. So before we go there, let's just look at the syllabus real quick. You'll see that all those choices that were in those squares are still here. They're just now listed on the left hand side. My library, like I said, 4 resource links, and if you want to see what those are, they're right here. You can ask a librarian, subject guides, course reserves. Sustainability links, there's the 2. So if you want more information, looking at how it's integrated across our campus, it's a pretty big deal. I am a sustainability fellow this semester and will be working with other faculty on developing a comprehensive understanding, a shared understanding of what sustainability means. And if you're interested in that, you can ask myself or Dr. Perkins in the geography, geology, and planning, and so forth. But like I said, let's go to syllabus. So I clicked on that and you'll see that's headed up here. Your choices are to download or view metadata. We're not going to do that. I don't know why you would yet. Some disclaimer and fair use, but let's go ahead and click on this. When you click on the blue link, it opens up within. If you want to print it out, all you got to do, like it says, download right here and you can print it. Really nice view. I think it's a little faster than Blackboard was. So contact information. I'm not going to read this to you for the sake of time of this video. My office hours are there, 1 to 3, Wednesday and Thursday. You can read the course description, the purpose, some of the class activities, namely Packback, and a few short online quizzes or activities are all the action that will be in the course. Otherwise, it'll be mostly reading and just watching or going through the PowerPoints for information. This is how your grades will be broken down. You can see Packback. This is a discussion tool. Some of you have already had classes that use Packback, and so you're no problem there. Others of you have never heard of it before, so I'll explain it briefly here in a few moments. But it is 14% of your grade. This is kind of like the discussion and participation aspect. Exams, there'll be 5 exams. Sometimes we don't get it through and we only have 4. In either case, I dropped the lowest grade. Hopefully we get through the 5 exams, and that helps you even more. 20% assignments, which are not very many. There is a text available. I recommend it to read further on this, especially if you're going to go into this area or you're even interested in sustainability and environmental science, conservation, things like that. But otherwise, not necessary. Most of the information will come from the PowerPoints and the quizzes, and the notes that I'm making those PowerPoints should be enough. So you can read through the Packback requirements. 1 open-ended question every 2 weeks. 2 responses to any classmate every 2 weeks. So this is not a lot. This is, after a few semesters of doing this, I think this is the best situation and the least amount of work I've required. Just brought it down a bit from 3 responses. 4 posts seemed to be a little much for the students last term. It used to be 2 posts in 1 question within each week, and that tended to keep students a little too busy and became busy work. I think now we got it perfect where it's every 2 weeks and 3 posts. So the idea is not to wait till the weekend. The idea is the quicker you get yours up, anytime you're inspired by whether it be PowerPoint, one of the films put up there, a lecture, or just in general, jump on there and jot down your question. It takes about 20 minutes to formulate a good question, and it takes about that long to also put in a good response. So you can see that's 24, so that's about an hour's worth of work right there with Packback every 2 weeks. I think that's pretty doable. We'll have 8 posts, and I will drop 1 posting period that you might miss for any particular reason. So we'll go through Packback again in a little bit. And then also on the syllabus, that should be spring, is the topics. So there you go. This week, introduction of the course, food and agriculture. And you can just read through this, pause it if you'd like. Again, to see what some of the topics are we're going to talk about. All right, nothing too deep here, but I want to show you where the syllabus is. Point out Packback is 14% of your grade. That's points during the semester. If we need to, we can have Zoom meetings, synchronous or asynchronous, Q&A requested. Most don't, but I can definitely do that with the whole class or even individually. All right, moving on. So I'm going back right up here, table of contents. And so you can get to Packback by clicking here, and that opens it right up and takes you straight to the source. Now, the first time you do this, you'll have to log in with your school email and such. And when it gets to the pricing, it should be $0. You should have already paid for this when you registered for the class. There might have been a couple of you who opted not to. It is up to you to figure out now. You have, I think, a couple weeks or so to get it, and then it will stop your activity there. You don't want to do that. It's sad because I'll have students who just show up for the exams and they do really well on the exams, but without this Packback or the assignments, their grade quickly falls to what could have been an A to a low B or even C. So just keeping your participation up. And besides, this is a class I think that most students in the College of Ag find really interesting and applicable to interest that they have within the major. So I think this is usually my food security students who might be doing that. You guys, I'm always super impressed with the insight and the links y'all provide. I learned a lot from your post and the websites you provide, and I can't wait to see what you guys are going to teach me. So it'll be listed like this. You're not able to post into any of these yet. You'll always see the start and stop dates. Again, you can post anytime within that period. Many times you'll email me and say, oh, I forgot to post. Can I go back and post? I'll say, sure you can, but it's going to be in the new period. So this is just on throughout the whole semester. Anytime you should post. Just try to be mindful that you want to do it within each 2-week period on a continual basis. So I already posted a question here, so you can read it, answer, and after you respond, you'll give that brief explanation. That already counts as 1 post. So for these first 2 weeks of school, you only need to pop in 1 more question. Those who pop in earlier tend to get more feedback from other students, and those who pop in later, their questions usually already been asked. So just some tips there. All right, moving forward. Table of contents, upper left-hand corner. Once again, everything is here. Syllabus we went over briefly. Packback. This is your way to interact with each other, to make the class a little more engaging, and let your fearless curiosity lead the way. Typically, the posts are within the content of what we're covering in that unit, but you can post about anything related to the class at any time, whether it's the first week or the last week. No problems. All right, lastly, let's go through content. 10-minute mark. All right, well, maybe I'm talking too fast or not covering enough. So I call each folder exam based on its exam content. So exam 1 content means everything that'll be on exam 1. And so when you click into there, there's week 1 material. There's probably a way to hide this whole bar after you click in, but these 2 are available. Week 2, 3, you can see they're coming up, but they are not available to you yet. All right. So you can read the instructions if there's any description there. So I'm going to say something here real quick. So when I first taught this class, it was developed for a distance course, just like the one you're taking, for Chinese students. So I'll click on this, for instance, the first lecture. And this is pretty important, so I hope you've kind of tuned in and stayed with me here. And you see this lecture is posted. This lecture was posted, again, for the Chinese students. And you'll see, I'm just going to play this. It is 1 hour and 35 minutes. So this is 2 lecture periods, all right? So I give instructions that you'll probably want to go to about the 16-minute mark. I introduce myself here. I talk about the class to them. So you can ignore all that. There's a picture of the book. And just go straight to about the 16-minute mark. And that's where the lecture starts. And each lecture is about 45 minutes. So that should take us to about the 1 hour mark. That's near the end of it. And if you're watching it, you'll see, of course, I will finish that lecture. So what's the rest of this? It's lecture 2. So you can choose to watch the whole thing if you like. I did go ahead. I'm going to click back to exam 1 content right here. So I did go ahead and on the second lecture, I broke it down. It was last 20 minutes. I redid right here. So now you'll see this is a 29-minute lecture. So it doesn't matter to me whether you watch just that. If you watch any of them, PowerPoints are there. You can just go through the PowerPoints. I did put some notes at the bottom. There's a lot of notes because, again, it was for Chinese, English language learners. And so just looking at the PowerPoints and reading through my notes may be good if you like to have somebody talking at you or with you. Then watch those lectures. Watch them on high speed if you like. So not all of them will be like this. This just happens to be the case in this first one. There's 2 lectures in one, so you can watch all of this one, or you can just watch that segment and then go to the one I showed you, because I'll just show you this real quick. You might recognize this is the same lecture as the last one, or the next one, excuse me. Right there. You see that? So I was just trying to get it bite-sized. I still need to get this one bite-sized. So when you listen to lectures, I talk a little slow out of habit and for the sake of the Chinese. Most of the time you can speed me up, and I recommend you kind of watch it at 1.2 or 1.5, whatever's comfortable for you if you're going to watch the lectures. But there you go. There's the content. Get the PowerPoints and the videos right in there. And that's all there is for this. Now with each one, notice when I clicked on exam 1 content, something else dropped out here as a part of exam 1 content, and that's the assigned readings. Within the PowerPoints, from time to time, I'll tell you about when you should read which, and they'll pop up as assignments. There's not a lot of assignments in this class, but 3 out of the 4 that we have are in this first unit. So here's copies of chapter 1 and 2 from the textbook. If you'd like to kind of reinforce whatever we talk about in lecture with textbook information, they're there. So just clicking on it, of course, and they're just photocopies of the text with some notes. Let's go back to assigned reading right here. Cold Comfort Farms. This will be another reading. Here in this first week or second week, it's pretty short, but just don't forget there's an assigned reading, and some of the exam questions are based on it. All right, like Cold Comfort Farms, there'll be a couple questions on that first exam. This will be an interview we eventually read here in the first couple weeks, and then in about week 4 or 5, you'll have the nitrogen cycle website to visit and some questions to answer based on that. All this will pop up in the right time. but I give you all the assigned readings in one folder related to exam 1. So you can read them at your leisure within these first 5 weeks, but I do give you prompts within these times. I hope that wasn't too confusing, so I'm going to repeat myself. If you understood everything, you can skip ahead, fast forward, but I'm just going to go to table of contents now. The only squares we have are content, packback, syllabus. This is the discussion assignments that are due every 2 weeks for the most part, and if there's ever a question, all you got to do is go to packback and it'll show you when the next due date is. When you go to content, right now the only thing you can see is exam 1 content. As the class progresses, you're going to see exam 2 content, exam 3 content, exam 4 content. So more and more stuff will open, and it'll always be in this range here. So welcome and instructions, and there's exam 1 content. These arrows here allow you to expand everything under exam 1 content, or you can collapse it. That's it. All right. So happy reading, happy listening. When you hear something that's worth talking about, feel free to pop over to Packback and ask a question about it. Did anyone else think that blah, 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 blah? Whatever you'd like to say. One thing I did forget to mention that is in the syllabus, you'll notice my post here was 64 curiosity points. So you want to get at least 50 curiosity points. If you get less, it'll still count half credit, but you want to try to have at least 50 or more. And this is AI driven to see that you're asking open-ended, thoughtful questions that are supported. Well, it doesn't go necessarily with support, but that has to do with whether you have a link or an article or something to back up your question. Not necessary, but it does add curiosity points. And there is a leaderboard for those who are earning the most curiosity points and posting the most frequently. And so this is kind of gamified in that sense. I haven't quite yet used it for extra credit, but it is a good thought for those who are active on it. Okay, we're at 17-minute mark. That's great. I wanted to be at 20 or less. So if there's any questions, email is fine. I think you can do that through communication. You click email. Please, if you don't use this and you go straight from your regular email, that's fine. Just be sure that you tell me what class you're in. I teach 4 classes, so please indicate that you're in AGN 115. Alrighty. Well, with that, here's your opening announcement, and don't forget to go record your Flipgrid. I'm not going to play this. Here's my Flipgrid right there. So I have a kind of a corny introduction just to have fun, but there's the prompt. And now go record your own introduction and let your classmates get to know you, or at least me. If you see me in the hallways, like I said, say hi.
Oh, that is awesome.
All right.